What's up, Jen? So I mentioned I saw two things in your ring muscle up, and just wanted to show you what I saw. And one of them is on the pole, and I think it's why we've been talking about over the past few months about your speed and the turnover, and I think I finally see what it's coming from. And then the second thing is in the dip. All right, so. And like I said before, when I was messaging you, like the difference between now and even a month ago, like this is so good, right? You're getting a nice hand grip. You're in that L sit. You're coming to a strong arch position. And we can start seeing. Hang on, let me see something real quick. Yeah, okay. This is interesting. All right, so I want you to notice my hands. Let's see if I can bring this down. Yeah, there you go. So my hands are kind of turned out. This may get a little bit more of an arch. Like, see how your head, like that upper back is relatively straight. Like all of the hinge is right here. This is actually something I just noticed. So we got three things. By turning those hands out like this, right? See how your hands are forward? It's limiting your extension in your upper back. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because you're going to see this issue. This is the issue of the slow turnover, and it's starting here. So I'm turning out a little bit, getting into a little bit of internal rotation, but it lets me hit that arch. Like see that upper back arch? It's just a little bit more. And my T-spine is not great. So now, like I said, the L sit really good. We're popping up. Now this is where we start seeing it. So look at your hands and look at your elbows. Okay? What's happening is you're rowing it. You're rowing the pull, right? You're pulling those rings. You're rowing it to your belly button. And what happens when we do that, we were talking about this as well, that's when the hips get too high. When we're actually trying to pull the rings to our belly button, I think that's a good cue to get people started, but it's actually not how we want to do a ring muscle up. Because when we do that, the hips have a tendency to get too high or too far over here, and then that makes that turnover harder, right? We were talking about that. So we have this really tight grip. We can't get into full extension. And then we start pulling early, right? We're pulling already. Our back is rounded, and we're kind of pulling into where the arms are like a 45-degree angle, right? Now watch when I come through on my end. See how my hands are still, they're not turned. Like, see how yours are already turned this way and mine are still out. And then as you start coming through, they start coming through more into like that 45, like they're even more. And see how mine are out? And then look at my elbows and look where my hands are. See how it's a little bit, they're like, when I get here, the elbows are out. And now, like, eventually, once I get here, and now when I start turning over, where do the elbows come? So they want to flare out, and then when I start to transition, then I'm going to start pulling them into my chest, into that turnover, right? See how high I am? I'm coming over top of the rings. In that turnover, my hips are still floating up, and as I turn over, they still come up. Whereas this is as high as they go, and then they don't, like, the hips just stop right there. They don't get any higher as soon as you start that turnover. As I'm turning over, you see how the hips are still coming up as I'm sitting over, right? And it's that pull, that early pull right here. I think that's what's happening. So that's what we want to do. Those elbows should be out, and you see how high they are? Like they're almost like in line with my, like right above, right below my armpits, right above my chest. And my legs are kind of out. I can work on the legs still, but I'm in this hollow position here. Whereas when we come here, you're a little bit more in an L sit. And then that's going to make that turnover really hard. Okay. So that's the first part is we want that position right there. That's what we want to hit. And we want those hips to be able to float up. Now, I want you to notice the catch. Right? The rings are on top. I'm slightly in front. Now watch your catch. Right there. See how you start coming out? Like you're really far forward. When I start driving out, I'm up. What that's going to do, like, see how you're arching out of it? Like that's going to put that is a lot of strain. You're really far forward in this, and that's going to put a lot of strain on that shoulder. So we want to keep an eye on that. We want to catch, like we're going too far over. We want to be a little farther back, and those rings should be physically touching our shoulder. And see how far away you are? Like that's a lot. Where, let's see. Like, see how I'm like right on it? Like right on that ring. That's going to be a much stronger position. Lockout is not quite. It's close. I think that's okay. See my second one. Still, I mean, the legs are getting better. I'm working on it. Let's see if I get the. Sorry. And coming through. Right, see that? Elbows out. Then in the turnover, they turn over. And notice the hand position. Hands are out, 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 out. Then they turn over. Right? Whereas your hands are literally the opposite direction. I hope this helps. It was really cool. Like when I slow mode it, and I was like, oh shit, I see something. So that's really cool. Keep the hard work up, Jen. Like super, super impressive. Super impressive. It's fun chasing you. Trying to chase you. Cheers.